Hi there, folks. Welcome back to Mossy Roots Farm. Today I want to discuss some things that I found appalling on Facebook. Imagine that, right? So the first couple things I found appalling is that I commented on a beef page for cows, and everyone told me that everything I was doing was 110% wrong. Well, it's not wrong. If it works, it works. So one of the things that I found was appalling is that people said you can't use temporary fence posts like this, right? This is just a plain old fiberglass post with some black clamps held onto it. You can use this side, you can use the webbing, the webbing rope kind of stuff. Oh, the camera's going to be a pain today, isn't it? Yes, it is. Focus, thank you. This side you can use the webbing rope kind of a thing. And then this side over here, we have like a wire hooked up, as you see here. Now, yes, I do understand that this fence post is not going to be the strongest in the world. And I also understand that this fence isn't going to survive against tree attacks. You know, it's not going to survive. I completely agree with that. But that doesn't mean you can't use this fence. If the only thing you can afford is even these. Here, look at these. See these really chintzy metal fake T-post things? Just like this. If all you can afford is this and some plastic insulators like I have over here, them yellow plastic insulators, focus, those. If that's all you can afford, then do it. Why save up the money for a high tensile fence? Why go through and put forth all this effort into something where you might only do it a couple years and then you don't want to do it, especially if this is your first time? It just really bothered me that somebody would tell another farmer what he's doing is wrong. Yes, there are industry standards, there are safe practices, there are rules of thumb. Yeah, I get that, I understand that. But I'm not talking about like, should I water my cows or not? I'm literally talking about, can I use a barbed wire fence to keep my animals in? Well, yeah, they've been using barbed wire fences for years. Before they had electricity available to homes, they were using barbed wire fences to keep cattle in. That's what they did. It worked really well, too. So just like here with these pigs, you know, I had a guy as well tell me in one of his videos that you can't have the pig fence this low to the ground because it'll get all over or it'll get grass growing on it, right? Well, yeah, I've got grass growing at my fence line. It needs weed whacked about once a week. But I have 3 pigs that are in right now. They're not out. They keep touching this fence and they keep getting zapped, so it's obviously working. So again, just because someone tells you on Facebook or YouTube that you have to do it this way, don't mean you do. It's trial and error. So as I was trying to say before my pigs decided that they needed attention, is we used to have a solar fencer on this T-post, and that was our issue. We ran this yellow and black wire right here. Focus camera. Okay, it's hard to see it. Let's try in the sunlight. Anyhow, so that's a yellow and black braided poly wire with steel running throughout it, which I think it's going to be hard to see with this camera, but there's steel running throughout it, so it is electrified. Well, we thought that was our problem, so we went to the solid wire that we use for our cattle because it works really well. Well, they still were escaping even with that. So then we ditched the solar fencer and put in a small, and yes, it's in this trash can. Again, proof that you can make your own stuff work. This trash can is keeping water out of our extension cord and out of our fencer, so it's staying dry. And we have it hooked up here, very sketchily redneckified. And we have a ground rod somewhere, right here. Here's our ground rod. And yes, technically, if you read the directions for these, you're supposed to have 3 ground rods 5 feet apart, and they need to be 8 feet long, and they need to be buried like 6 or 7 feet deep. And that's what the manufacturer recommends. Well, again, I only have 1 rod. It was, I think, a 6-footer. It wasn't even that big. I have grass touching my fence all over the place, and it's shorting it out. And I got 300, 400, 500-pound sows that stay in with this fence. More proof that, yes, a big-time operation You might have hundreds of miles of fencing that you need to keep clean, and it would be a pain in the butt to weed whack. Us, we don't even have a quarter mile of fence that we have to weed whack, so it's not a big deal. So just start small, experiment, try things. See what works and what doesn't work. And watch your pigs fight over some grass because they think they're starving. They're funny creatures. So ultimately, you're the caretaker. You decide what you want to do. If you want to go out there, spend money on a really nice high tensile fence, if you want to go out there and do your own high tensile fence for half the cost, that's on you. You don't have to. You don't have to spend all that money to get into farming. And that's what I want this channel to be like. I want this channel to show people the, quote, redneck way, or the low budget way, or whatever you want to call it. The first time farmer way, I don't care. Whatever you want to use for terminology. That's just what I want to show. I want to show that you don't have to be with your animals 45 minutes a day. You don't even have to do that. We literally feed our pigs and feed our cows and we're done and we walk away. You know, obviously we check on them, make sure that they're not loose. You know, every now and again if I get a bad windstorm, I'll ride the fence line and make sure I don't have trees down on it. But sometimes you do. A couple weeks ago we had a branch come down and the cows were out at 6 a.m. I'm not up at 6 a.m. I work second shift. But that's ultimately what I want this channel to showcase. You don't have to have a lot of money to be a farmer. You don't have to have a lot of money to have these animals. You can even call them pets if you want and never eat them. I love the pigs. They're fantastic. But they taste a whole lot better.